All right, good afternoon, Hawk Radio. This is Emily. Welcome to Emily's Playhouse, my new show. Well, season 2. And yeah, it's episode 2 of what we're calling season 2. And yeah, welcome back. Another week, everybody. I hope you all had a great week and are looking towards a even better weekend. Nothing really happened to me this week. I'm taking a math class. And I have a test coming up. That's about it. Just normal student things. I had Rocky Horror last week. I talked about it. And this weekend I really don't have anything except for there's a Martin Luther King Day parade in Plant City that my sister is playing in. But yeah, that's about all I've got to do this weekend. There's no school on Monday if you guys have Monday classes. But that's exciting. That's a 3-day weekend. So I hope you all enjoy your 3-day weekend coming up. And yeah, so we have a great show this week. I'm going to be talking about I've been looking forward to this like all summer coming up, or all winter. It's not summer, but I'm going to be talking about the movie The Fly, which came out in 1986, starring Jeff Goldblum. I'm really excited about it. I have a bunch of notes on the subject, so that's going to be our first segment, and buckle up. And then I'm going to be talking about Celebrity Big Brother, because they just released that lineup. Big Brother is a show that's on during the summer, but they started doing a celebrity version with a bunch of celebrities inside the Big Brother house. They started doing that last year. And, oh man, I forget her name, but Broadway, she played Tracy Turnblad. She won Celebrity Big Brother last year. So they're back for another season, and I'm really looking forward to it. And then I'm probably going to talk a little bit about my new Disney Pass. I got a Disney Pass, and Aerosmith, probably. I like Aerosmith a lot, and yeah, they're a big part of Disney. So, yeah, stay tuned, you guys. We're going to go into a quick music break, and then we'll be right back to talk about The Fly. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Welcome back, everybody, to Emily's Playhouse on Hog Radio. I am Emily. That was the Seagulls song. One of my favorites. One of my resolutions, I talked about my resolutions last week a little bit. One of my resolutions is to listen to Spotify more, because I usually listen to Apple Music. So one of my resolutions is to listen to Spotify more, because they do this big, like, end of the year, like, compilation of all the top songs that you listen to, and I'm determined to make the Seagulls song my number 1. So I've been listening to it, like, every day of 2019 so far, and I'm committed. It's gonna be in my top 5 or whatever, top 3. First, welcome to our movie segment. I'm going to be talking this week about the movie The Fly. I know. So I watched The Fly back in October with my friend Kaylee. We do Rocky Horror together, and back when she lived closer, we would have, like, movie days. We just watched movies, and I would spend the night. And it was getting close to Halloween, so we decided to watch The Fly. We were looking for scary movies to watch, and we had already watched Beetlejuice, and, you know, we were trying to get into the Halloween spirit. So this one popped into my head just randomly. I'm like, hey, I haven't seen this movie. We both never seen it before, actually, and we both love Jeff Goldblum. And I mean, it's one of those movies where you always see parodies of it. Like, what's the line? Oh, this line. You guys all know this line, this infamous line.
No. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Yeah, I said it earlier. Yeah, I said it earlier in the show. That one is from The Fly, actually. That was a clip from The Fly, so that originated from it. And you always see parodies of it in like movies, and I know in television they always allude that line and stuff specifically. But also the concept of, you know, teleportation and turning into a fly. I mean, that's a trope at this point. But yeah, so I'd never seen the original, though, like where it came from. But as we watched this movie, we started to analyze it and pick it apart the same way a film student would. Especially when it came to the overall themes and the characterization of the protagonist, Seth Brundle. So that's what I'm going to do in this first movie segment here on Emily's Playhouse. So let's get going. So The Fly was directed and co-written by David Cronenberg, he's known for all of these body horror movies, things happening to people's bodies, just gory, gross stuff. I've never seen any of his other movies, but The Fly is actually a remake of an original movie, The Fly, based on a short story called The Fly. A remake of a film based on a short story. The original, it was released back in the 50s and starred Vincent Price. You know Vincent Price, he did the voice of Thriller and a bunch of other scary stuff. He is the poster boy for Halloween. But I've never seen the original, so it's not really important. I just kind of wanted to preface with that. But this version was released in 1986. It stars Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis, who would actually be married to each other the following year, so method acting, right? The concept is pretty much the same as in the short story and in the original. Cronenberg rewrote most of the characters, though, in this version. In this version, Jeff Goldblum plays a scientist named Seth Brundle, as I mentioned before, and he meets Davis's character, a journalist named Veronica, or Ronnie Quaife, and he invites her over. He lives in this warehouse. He invites her over to his warehouse home to be the first to see his newest invention. We discover that Brundle has a problem with car sickness, so what does he invent? Anything? Bueller? He invents telepods, which allow the instantaneous teleportation from one pod to the other. However, the telepods can only transport inanimate objects, so he asks for anything personal on her, like jewelry. She gives him a stocking, and he transports the stocking, inanimate. When live tissue is put through the telepods, it gets mutilated. This is demonstrated when a baboon is turned inside out during an experiment, so Brundle keeps trying. Ronnie begins documenting his work, and they begin a relationship together. Finally, Brundle successfully transports a second baboon, but Ronnie leaves before they can celebrate, and it makes him really sad. He believes that she is rekindling her relationship with her editor, Stathis. So in a drunken fit of jealousy, Brundle decides to teleport himself alone with the baboon. But the baboon watches, not with the baboon, but he decides to teleport himself, unaware that a housefly has slipped inside the transmitter pod with him, hence the title of the movie. You can guess what kind of happens next, can't you? Brundle emerges from the receiving pod seemingly normal. He reconciles with Ronnie, however, he begins exhibiting an increased strength, stamina, and libido, which he believes is a result of the teleportation purifying his body. This is kind of where the religious undertones come in. He starts growing hairs on his back and having major sugar cravings and becomes arrogant and violent, kind of like those arrogant and violent flies. He attempts to force Ronnie to undergo teleportation, but she refuses. Eventually, Brundle realizes that the pod fused him with the fly and that he is becoming a hybrid of human and insect. His body begins to deteriorate. He loses many body parts, becoming less human in appearance. He starts going by Brundlefly. He begins vomiting digestive enzymes onto his food and gains the ability to cling to walls and ceilings. He realizes he is losing his human reason and compassion and is driven by uncontrollable, primitive impulses, just like all men. So, I mean, there's nothing... nothing's changed. He's the same. We also find out that Ronnie is pregnant with Brundle's child. She has a nightmare about giving birth to a maggot and decides to have an abortion performed in the middle of the night. Brundlefly overhears this and abducts Ronnie before it can take place and begs her to carry it to term since it may be the last remnant of his humanity. In a fit of desperation, Brundlefly reveals to Ronnie his plan to use the telepods to fuse himself and her and their unborn child together into one entity. That's gross. As he traps her into one of the telepods, Brundlefly's final form bursts from Brundle's decayed human skin. Lovely. And he enters the other telepod. Stathis uses a shotgun to sever the cables of Ronnie's telepod, allowing her to escape. Just as the fusion process is activated, Brundlefly breaks out and is gruesomely fused with the metal door and a cabling of the telepod, becoming Brundlepod. Ha ha ha. I'm not going to spoil the ending for you guys, but I wasn't expecting so much emotion in a horror movie. I was sad. But yeah, Kaylee and I found a bunch of different themes in this movie. Some of them are goofy, like don't date smart men and women, or her body, her choice, that kind of stuff. Just goofy things. But the director, David Cronenberg, says that the premise of the movie is about two lovers, one of whom contracts a disease and the other is forced to watch. This was a very topical movie around the time of the AIDS epidemic, so many compare Brundle's physical changes to that of the AIDS virus. And I found that in a less severe sense, you can compare his physical changes to just aging in general and getting older. So we can say that the theme of the movie is about accepting the mortality of ourselves and of our loved ones. That's one theme that we came up with. Another one is the theme of identity and dysmorphia. It's prominent throughout the movie, I found. I have a few transgender and transsexual friends, and I know body dysmorphia is something they all struggle with more so than my cisgendered friends. Just finding faults and imperfections in who you are. And I can see how his scenario could parallel theirs. And I cited a quote here. Look at me. I cited a quote in the movie. Towards the end of the movie, Brundle tells Ronnie that he is, quote, an insect who dreamt he was a man and loved it. So you can kind of see how that's the parallels. Oh, this is my favorite. This is my favorite theme that we came up with. Me and Kaylee, we came up with a theme of virginity. And I saw a post on Facebook a few weeks ago, actually, that kind of like does it justice. It kind of gets the point across here, this movie. It said, virginity was invented by a man who thought his junk was so important it could fundamentally change who a woman is. But in this instance, it's kind of reversed. So Brundle and Ronnie begin an intimate relationship. He becomes obsessed with the idea that she's cheating on him with her ex, Stathis. And that is ultimately the thing that leads him to teleport himself that night. That was his 𝘍𝘺𝘭𝘺, as they say in English class. Is that right? 𝘍𝘺𝘭𝘺? But yeah, my favorite line in the whole movie is spoken by Brundlefly, and he says, I'll bet you think that you woke me up about the flesh, don't you? But you only know society's straight line about the flesh. So, in a way, his relationship with Ronnie fundamentally did change who he was. It's the same message as Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Anakin's relationship with Padme and her pregnancy was one of the driving forces that turned him into Darth Vader. But that's a discussion for another day. But you see how I made that connection? It's the same message. But that quote about the flesh can also be interpreted as flesh being, quote, the body as oneself, unquote. And this is the most insightful discussion I found about the whole movie in my research. I'm about to blow your minds, y'all, so buckle up. Seth Brundle, played by Jeff Goldblum, he's a smart guy, a scientist, and the whole movie basically shows him discovering a life outside of his mind. Roman Polanski performs a monologue in the movie The Tenant, and he states, at what precise moment does an individual stop being whom they think they are? Cut off your arm, you say, me and my arm. Cut off your leg, you say, me and my leg. Take out your stomach and your kidneys and your intestines, you say, me and my organs. Now, if you cut off your head, would you say me and my head or me and my body? What right does my head have to call itself me? The part of the fly that makes it scary, quote unquote, it isn't just, oh, he's turning into a fly and losing his humanity in the process. It's the loss of control and the idea that we can be ourselves, or what we think is ourselves in a personal sense, but also be totally different. And it raises the question, is the flesh us or are we it? Are we our bodies or is there something more? Are we it? Are we our bodies? Or are our bodies us? Makes you think. David Cronenberg, the director of The Fly, he would probably say that there is no difference between flesh and self. Seth Brundle's physical change is reflected in his behavior and in his interactions with others. However, without comparing himself to somebody relatively unchanging, like the character of Ronnie, he might not realize how much he's actually changed. His flesh changes, and he changes with it, whether he knows it or not. Boom. That's how you analyze a movie, ladies and gentlemen. Kaylee and I had a really in-depth discussion about Seth Brundle as a character too after watching this movie. You kind of empathize with him because he's another English term over here. He's what we call a tragic hero. He wasn't really a good guy or a bad guy necessarily. He was just, average Joe. He was a scientist. He was a scientist with an idea that he brought to life to improve a flaw that he had, like car sickness, motion sickness. In today's context, it would kind of be like, say, if the radioactive spider that bit Peter Parker, if it bit him, and instead of turning him into a hero, into a force for good, it turned him into something that couldn't live among humans or anybody at all. So that's what we call, that's 𝘍𝘍𝘺𝘭𝘺, what we call in English class. It's a tragic flaw that leads to a chain of events, culminating in a reversal of good fortune to bad. Seth Brundle's was obviously teleporting himself. Not transporting, there's a difference. Transportation is something different, I think. That's like Star Trek, but teleporting. But yeah, The Fly is probably one of my favorite movies. I still haven't seen the original, and I obviously haven't. I'm not a big reader. I haven't read the short story, but I found it really fascinating to analyze. And yeah, another thing I really like about the movie is I have to analyze the camera angles. As a film student, I have to analyze the camera angles, and I really like how they do like kind of like fly on the wall kind of camera angles, like you're watching from a fly on the wall to tie into the theme of, being a fly. So that's really cool. You don't notice it when you watch it, but I do because I'm obsessed with movies. But yeah, if you want to watch The Fly, you can watch it on YouTube, or I'm pretty sure it's on Amazon Prime, which I don't have, so that's why I couldn't watch it. But yeah, or download a torrent like Kaylee did. That's how we watched it. But great movie, lots of talking points. I'd love to discuss it more, but that's what I got. The moral is, virginity. That's what it's about. So yeah, I'm going to play a Fly-related song now by Miley Cyrus called Fly on the Wall. It's one that I listened to as a tween, so I mean, yeah. But we'll be right back after this quick music break, and we're going to talk about the Big Brother lineup. It's going to be great. I'm really upset because, speaking of Miley Cyrus, it was rumored that Billy Ray Cyrus was going to be on, her dad, was going to be on this Celebrity Big Brother, and I'd love to see him locked up in a house, man, with other people. So yeah, we'll be right back after this brief music break. Keep listening. Welcome back to Emily's Playhouse on Hawk Radio. That was Fly on the Wall by Miley Cyrus. I remember jamming to that in middle school at my bus stop when I was a tween. When I was a little tweeny bopper. But yeah, that was the first song that came to mind when I decided that I was going to be talking about a Fly movie. So there you go. It all comes back around. So yeah, this next segment is our television segment here on Emily's Playhouse. I'm going to be talking about, what is it? Celebrity Big Brother. I've talked about Big Brother, like the regular show here before, but this is the celebrity version. Same format, so I'm not going to delve too deep into the gameplay or anything, but I'm just going to list off because they announced it, oh man, when was this? The 16th, so 2 days ago. Wednesday, they announced the lineup, the official lineup, to debunk any rumors that people had, like Cole Sprouse and Billy Ray Cyrus. The official lineup here for Celebrity Big Brother. I personally think Celebrity Big Brother is more entertaining, whereas it's shorter. I mean, they don't have like 2 months all summer to play the game, so there's fewer people, I believe. But I mean, in the like regular show, they have like just normal everyday people that they gather from around the nation and put them in a house, and this one is like celebrities, so like people you know how they act, you know how they behave, but do you really though? Like, this is like they're there 24/7 for however many weeks, so you get to see them, like the real them, I think. And how they behave with people, and you get to. Last year they had Omarosa on, so she was talking about Trump and like all these White House secrets, and the first person I have on this lineup to transition from that is Anthony Scaramucci. So he's going to be on. Yeah, that's pretty cool, I guess. I hope he talks more about Trump. I hope he confirms the stuff that Omarosa said. There's also somebody named Ricky Williams, not to be confused with my friend Riley's dad, Ricky Williams. Not the same person, although that would be really cool. I don't think he's a celebrity, but former NFL player. Also, Natalie Eva Marie, better known as Eva Marie, former WWE star. They gotta have somebody from the WWE. Like, I guess that has a following of some sort. I'm not a fan, but Tamar Braxton, part of the Braxton family. I don't know how I feel about her. Not really familiar. Dina Lohan is Lindsay Lohan's momager, quote unquote, whatever that means. So it should be interesting. Ryan Lochte, of course, the Olympic swimmer. He's usually stereotypically dumb, portrayed by dumb people when he's being satirized. So, Kato Kalin, a juror on the O.J. Simpson trial. Joey Lawrence, he was in like Blossom and stuff, and he had a show with Melissa Joan Hart, I believe. I know him. I feel like, man, what else do I know Joey Lawrence from? If somebody can please tell me. Please reach into my mind and tell me where else I know Joey Lawrence from, because I know him from something else. Lolo Jones, an Olympic bobsledder. There's a lot of Olympic people on here. People from the Olympics, so that's really cool. That should be, it's a very, like, physically challenging game, so it's really good. They have an advantage there, I guess. Lolo Jones. Tom Green. We know Tom Green. Candy Burris. She's a Real Housewife, and it says here she won a Grammy for writing No Scrubs by TLC. That's dope. I love that song. And the last one here is Jonathan Bennett. He played Aaron Samuels in Mean Girls. I've seen Mean Girls in passing a couple times. Like, not even in passing. I've seen it before. Like, I've watched it multiple times, but it's one of those movies, like, everybody loves it, but it just doesn't, like, stick out to me. But so I had to ask my sister, I'm like, which character is this? Like, it's not is there a goth guy in there? It's not him. It's the guy that that Lindsay Lohan's character likes. So, he asks what day is it? And she says it's October 3rd. And that's all I know. That's what Kristen told me, so. But yeah, oh, it's cool. Dina Lohan and, yeah. So they should get along. Jonathan Bennett and Dina Lohan, maybe. Maybe not. He worked with her daughter in Mean Girls, so there you go. It all comes full circle. But yeah, I'm not going to delve too deep into that. That's all I really had to say about it. Does it say when the show starts? I think it already started. I wanna say it already started or something, but because I thought I saw an episode. Maybe not. Maybe it was from last season. But I'll get back to you guys on that next week. But those are the people who are going to be on this season. Super excited. Wish Billy Ray was on. You know, that would have been dope. But you know, maybe next year. So yeah, we're going to another quick music break, real quick. And then when we get back, I'm going to talk about why does Emily have a Disney Pass, and then that's probably going to lead into a talk about Aerosmith. So, looking forward to it. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. You're listening to Emily's Playhouse on Hawk Radio. That was Two Phones by Kevin Gates, and this is, of course, Back in the Saddle by Aerosmith. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Emily's Playhouse on Hawk Radio. That was Back in the Saddle by Aerosmith. Of course, Steven Tyler is coming to the Florida Starway Festival on March 3rd. I'm super excited about that. Maybe he'll sing that. There's a bunch of yees in Plant City, so yeehaw! So, last month, mid-December-ish, I joined the masses and I bought a annual pass to Walt Disney World. Yay! So I can go to Disney whenever I want now. So I did that for, initially, Kaylee, the same Kaylee that I saw The Fly with, her birthday. She turned, 24, I believe. She turned 24. And so for her birthday, we went to Epcot, and I just said, you know what? I'm going to buy a whole pass. And I did. And so now I can go whenever I want, and it's awesome and dope, and I get perks. I get, magnets that they send me. What else do I get? I got, 20% off. I get free parking. I get through the fast lines, not ride lines, but, the initial, getting into the park lines. They have a separate, annual pass holder line. That's dope. What else? I get pictures and videos of me on the rides. It's awesome, because I'm a ham, and I love it when cameras are involved, in me doing stuff. Awesome. So yeah, so I've been maybe 3 or 4 times since last month. It's awesome. I went for Kaylee's birthday party, and I went with my castmates Brandon and Susan, our producer, and Kaylee, and we had fun. We went to Epcot and Magic Kingdom, and we stayed the whole day. There. And then I went with, who did I go with? Mackenzie. I went with my friend Mackenzie. She knows everything about Disney. We went a couple weeks later. Before or after? All these Disney trips are running together. I believe it was after our annual pass. No, before. It was before our annual pass. It was before Christmas. Before we have blackout dates too. I got the gold pass. So, platinum pass, I believe you don't have any blackout dates, but gold pass members have the week of Easter and the week of Christmas. So, but that's fine because my family's religious, so it's cool. It works out. I don't have to go to Disney those weeks. It's whatever. So I went with Mackenzie, and we went to Hollywood Studios, and I saw Toy Story Land, and what else? Star Wars stuff. And she made me ride the Slinky Dog ride, which I didn't like. And then she wouldn't go on Rock and Roller Coaster, which is how I'm going to segue this. You see how I'm doing that there? Rock and Roller Coaster is the best ride at Disney World, hands down. It's my favorite. I went on it for the first time in the 7th grade, and I don't know what I was thinking, because how old was I in 7th grade? Like 12? That's not me. I would not have gone on. First of all, I went on Tower of Terror twice, and I hate that ride. I would never voluntarily go on that ride, but I went on Rock and Roller Coaster. It was my first loop roller coaster, inversion roller coaster, and I went on that like a bunch of times. And my fondest memory of that trip is Rock and Roller Coaster was like the last ride we rode, and we almost missed the bus because we were stuck at the launch. And it was scary, but you know, it's whatever. And I love that ride ever since. And I've been a closeted Aerosmith fan ever since. I'm sure I was a fan before then, but I mean, it's different. But yeah, now I like Aerosmith, and all these Disney trips are kind of bringing that out of me a little bit. But I couldn't tell you. I know like 16 Aerosmith songs. I know like Dude Looks Like a Lady. I'm about to list them all. And Walk This Way, and Young Lust, and F.I.N.E., and Crying, and Crazy, and the one that I just played, Back in the Saddle, and You Gotta Move, which is the one I'm going to play next. And what else do I know? Crazy Crying. I'm missing some. Remember Walking in the Sand. That's one. Angel. Oh man, I wish I could play that one. That's a good one. All these great songs. 9 Lives is one. Love in an Elevator / Roller Coaster. I think that's most of them. A good chunk. There's more. But yeah. What? Oh, Janie's Got a Gun is their best song. Ragdoll. Ragdoll's my favorite. I can't believe I just forgot that. Yeah. So, Aerosmith. Steven Tyler, obviously. No, you know what? I started becoming a fan of Steven Tyler before we went on that 7th grade Disney trip. I was a fan of Steven Tyler when he was on American Idol, and he would hit on everybody who auditioned, men and women, and it was the funniest thing. That was the best 2 seasons they ever had, honestly. They should bring him back. But yeah, that was, I remember, we, like, that was around the same time, like, of the 7th grade Disney trip, like, and I remember everybody was taking pictures of Steven Tyler on that ride, and it was like, y'all obsessed. But yeah, and now he's coming to the Star Festival, and we're so excited. But yeah, Aerosmith is Steven Tyler and Joe Perry and 3 other guys. I don't know them. Tom Hamilton, Joey Kramer, I guess, and Ray Tabano. I couldn't tell you what they look like. I can tell you what Steven Tyler and Joe Perry look like if I saw them walking down the street. But if I saw the other 3 guys, I probably wouldn't be able to. Sorry, true facts. But they write great music. They're a messed up band, but they write great music. Don't Want to Miss a Thing, that's another one. And obviously Dream On, Sweet Emotion, and I think I've listed all of them that I know within the course of the last 5 minutes. But yeah. And so, if anybody, this is me promoting that I have a Disney pass. If anybody wants to go to Disney with me, first of all, I can't drive, so you have to be able to drive, and you have to want to go on Rock and Roller Coaster more than once. At least once, but I mean, it depends on how the wait times are. We have to ride Rock and Roller Coaster at least once if you're with me. It's a requirement. We have to go to Hollywood Studios because they have Star Wars, which I love, and Rock and Roller Coaster, and that's it. I don't have to like you. You just gotta drive and ride Rock and Roller Coaster, and that's it. I would go with my worst enemy to Disney World, and I would spend the whole day with them if they could drive me, and if they would ride Rock and Roller Coaster with me. That's it. I'm telling you, it's a great ride. You go 0 to 60 in like less than 3 seconds, and oh man, that's some crazy G-force. 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds, and straight into like 2 inversions, and then there's a 3rd one later in the ride. But I didn't know the first loop was actually 2 loops put together. You can't tell, like I guess it lasts longer than a normal loop would, but that's you can't tell when you're actually up there, and that it's 2 put together. it just feels like one really long loop, but it's actually 2 put together, and then there's a corkscrew later in the ride. I wish the ride was longer. I think in California they turned it into an Iron Man ride, and I'm really I'm really nervous about the fate of Rock and Roller Coaster. I hope they keep it around, but I don't think Aerosmith is really... I mean, they're still touring and stuff, but they're getting old, and I don't know how topical they are going to stay for very much longer. But I gotta say, if they turn the Walt Disney in Orlando Rock and Roller Coaster into an Iron Man ride, I wouldn't be mad. I'd probably still ride it and enjoy myself. Robert Downey Jr. is young and sprightly. Kinda. He's slightly younger than Aerosmith, so I mean... But yeah, Iron Man will live on forever. He's immortal. Or will he? We'll talk about that next week. So yeah, I'm gonna go into this music break. I have a Disney Pass now, everybody. I'm really excited. I think I'm gonna go. I went with some castmates, Trevor and Pablo, and Trevor's girlfriend, Casey. I went with them a couple weeks ago, and it was tons of fun. And now I'm gonna try to go with my castmates, Allison and Puck, after Gasparilla next Sunday, I believe, the 27th. So I'm really looking forward to that, because I know they're Disney nuts, and they'll ride Rock and Roller Coaster with me, and they can drive, so it's gonna be dope. We're going to play another Aerosmith song here real quick, and then we'll start wrapping up. So keep listening. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Emily's Playhouse on Hawk Radio. I am Emily, and we're getting ready to wrap up our show for the day. It's been a fun episode. This week, I talked about The Fly, the movie The Fly with Jeff Goldblum. It's one of my favorites. And, oh, man, I'm really proud of myself for, tying in Star Wars like that. Like, that's my magnum opus right there. I'm really proud of that. So... The Fly. Definitely check it out on Amazon Prime or YouTube if you can. Or if it's on TV, just spontaneously. It's a great Halloween movie. And Jeff Goldblum is great. So, and then we talked about Celebrity Big Brother a little bit. I told you all the lineup and how pissed I am that Billy Ray Cyrus isn't on the show. It's whatever. And then I talked a little bit about my new Disney Pass. And I played some Aerosmith for you guys a little bit. I love Aerosmith. They're great. And I'm really excited to see Steven Tyler at the Florida Starbase Festival in Plant City on March 3rd, right after my New York trip. I'm super excited. It's going to be a great show. It's playing with a different band. I talked about this last week, but not Aerosmith, but still the same great songs, hopefully. So, yeah, that was this week's show, episode 2 for the semester. Super excited for next week's show. Next week, my best friend Olivia will be on, and we're going to play a fun game. We played a game last time. It was like Guess the Marvel Score, where I played, like the score for Marvel movies, and she had to guess what they were. Remember, I don't know if you guys heard it, but I played the score for the Winter Soldier, and it was like dead silent. She guessed it, and I was like dumbfounded. She guessed it. She guessed a song correctly from Dead Silence. It was crazy. She's obsessed. But yeah, next week we're not going to be playing a Marvel one, but we're going to do, because I'm in Rocky Horror, I thought and she's a Rocky Horror nut, I thought I'd play like 1 second of a Rocky Horror song, and she has to guess it. And I think she's going to do really well, but we'll see. Tune in next week for that. We're also going to talk about the new Spider-Man Far From Home trailer, because they released that this week. So that's exciting. And also she's in a show at Plant City Entertainment, Plant City's Community Theater. She's in a show called Ragtime, so she's going to come promote that. Last year she was in Once Upon a Mattress, and I saw it, and it was super dope. This year she's in, I believe it's a musical, their big musical of the year called Ragtime. And super exciting. I'm really excited for her to be here. And yeah, just tune in. It's going to be dope. Check out last season's episodes on Facebook and YouTube. You can listen to Olivia's episode, actually. I'll post it again. Really great episode. Probably one of my best. But check them out on Facebook. Our Facebook is Emily's Playhouse on Hawk Radio. And my YouTube is just my name, Emily Ryan. Or just look up Emily's Playhouse. It'll show up. And yeah, follow us on our other social media. Twitter, it's Em's Playhouse, and Instagram, it's at Emily's Playhouse. I post updates on like next week's show, and I talk a little bit about this week's show on there. So definitely tune in for updates and stuff like that. And I think that just about covers it. Listen every week at noon for Emily's Playhouse. Listen on hawkradio.primostream.com is the website. And yeah, just keep listening. We had a great season coming up. Olivia's going to be here next week, and it's going to be rad. Thanks for listening, you guys. I'm out of here. Yeah, we'll see you next week.